Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 20th of December 2019. This is going to be my last symposium for a few days. Kids have holiday, and so we'll be traveling soon, and we won't be back in Bali until the 12th of January. So I'm going to slow down doing symposiums until the end of December, and then I'll pick up doing them again early January. Okay, and I'll continue doing these as I normally do. So it's just a good time to have a bit of a break and think about what's going on and what the new year brings. I think New Year is always a time of reflection, which I really appreciate. I like the slowing down of everything, unplugging, spending more time with the family. So it's a very special time, I think, for many families. But today we're going to talk about identifying good areas of supply and demand. And it's kind of funny, I've been covering the same material for years and years and years and years and years and years, and it's the same material at its core, but I really try to present it in a way that maybe becomes a little bit novel. The material is the same, the way it's presented will vary sometimes from session to session. The reason I do this is because I want to present it in a way that resonates with you. If I present it in one way and it resonates with person A, maybe person B is not really understanding what's going on, and so I like to try and change my strategy and my terminology and the metaphors that I use when referring to supply and demand and trading, and I hope this will help kind of bring this home to you. But today we're going to start looking at these trends, and the whole word trend is kind of a tricky thing, I think. But if you look at a price chart like this, price is going up and down, and it looks kind of random, and it's going down, and now it looks like it's going to start moving higher from here. So it's just a really good idea to be able to kind of see what's going on one time frame, and then you take this information with you down to the smaller time frames. And when I say one time frame, essentially I'm referring to the major time frames, because if you want to know what a small chart is doing, here on the daily chart, which for me is kind of a smaller chart or a medium term chart, it's very clear here that price is starting to drift higher, but you don't know where the major flows are operating. Okay, but what you can do is you can go to the monthly chart, and this gives you tremendous insight. Okay, and so here you can see that, as a matter of fact, we're reacting on monthly demand, and so automatically this removes speculation, it removes guessing, it removes hoping, because now you know that, okay, price is sitting in monthly demand, and so obviously longer term, over the course of the next few months, price is probably going to start drifting higher. We don't know if it's going to happen for sure, but if we focus on law of probabilities, it will likely start to move higher until we reach opposing order blocks, which you can see somewhere up here. And so for the time being, I think it's clear to say that price is going to start to move higher. Why? Because we're reacting at this area of demand. And you can see, as a matter of fact, that we had our buy zone is right there. You can see we had the white candle, accumulation, this candle left. This is the slingshot was pulled back to here. This is where price came to almost exactly on the first test. Second test we went a little bit deeper, and now we're slowly wriggling higher. Okay, so that kind of takes away the objectiveness of guessing if the trend is up or if the trend is down. Because if you focus on it, a trend it's just where the major flows are going. So if you have interest rate differentials that are favorable to one currency and less favorable to another, well, the direction of that market will be moving. You'll slowly start to see the flows move into the high yielding currency and away from the lower yielding currency. So when you look at a price chart like this, you have the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. The differentials between these two currencies are negative, and so we have high yielding Canadian dollar and the lower yielding Australian dollar, and this is relative to one another. Okay, and so you can see actually that if you look at this, price has, if we start from the top here, price is wriggling lower. Okay, so this is pretty clearly reflected in what we can see up here, and it's not always going to move like that, and you don't have to pay attention to that. But longer term, people are going to be moving their money into high yielding assets. Okay, and this is what we're seeing just here. Despite that fact, we are reacting at monthly demand. Is that important? Absolutely, it's very important. Okay, so just being mindful of that helps us make better decisions. So now, on the monthly chart, we can expect price to start to wriggle higher. So you take this information with you to the smaller time frames. And if you look at this, you can see a pattern occurring where price kind of came down to an area of monthly demand now that we know, and now we're moving sideways. And what is this? Well, this is accumulation, okay? And so we have orders that are being filled potentially to drive price higher. And we don't know this looking at this price chart, but we know this when we look at this price chart. We have a push lower, accumulation for 1 month, and then a massive departure. And this is the first time back. The beginning of the buy zone is here. And if we focus on the macro levels, as a matter of fact, the beginning of the buy zone is right here, which is where the slingshot was pulled back, and this is where price tested. And so we're pretty low. Okay, we're pretty close to the origin of this move. So the move is from here to here. So price went from here to here, and now we're wriggling lower. And so we're getting pretty close to the origin of this big move here. Okay, so we can expect price to be at a discount level. So we are offering, or the market is offering, value for this specific asset. So we can expect price to kind of wriggle higher from here for a little while at least. Okay, and so you take this information with you to the smaller time frames. And so you want to be buying. So you go to the smaller time frames, like the daily or whatever, you kind of look for the same thing. So you can see here that we probably had some kind of, if you use indicators, we probably had some kind of divergence here where we had price going lower, but we probably had oscillators or currency strength divergence occurring at the same level, and then price left, and now we're kind of moving sideways, figuring out exactly what we want to do. And so it's pretty clear when you look at a price structure like this. Okay, so if we look on the weekly chart, we're focusing on the big clear swings. We have a clear swing here. We have from here to here to here to here. Okay, that's a pretty nice swing. If we look at, sorry, let's go to the daily chart. You can see that we're starting to form some lower lows. So we can have these boxes. They're starting to form below price. We've got one there, and one there. Okay, and you can see that we're actually slowly wriggling higher. We actually do have a trend line we could draw, and it probably looks something like that. So we have support for price. So this is indicating that price is probably going to wriggle higher for a while, at least until it meets opposing liquidity, okay, which we have kind of higher up. We have this one up here. We have this one here, which I like. We have this one here. We have this one here, which I like, but it's been tested, and so we can expect price to move through it. So we want to be long the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar for the time being. So if we go to the even smaller time frames, you want to identify these areas of demand, these areas of value. We can see them pretty clearly. We have, if you trade patterns, so we had a left shoulder, we had the head, and the right shoulder. I don't know where that is, somewhere over here, something like that, maybe around here. And so we have actually, it's pretty close to here, but it's pretty close to the neck. Sorry, to the head, much more so than this. So I'd expect price, not because it's a head and shoulders pattern, because I don't really know much about head and shoulders pattern, but you hear them being discussed quite a lot. And then if you look at this, you want price to come back to an area of demand, of extreme value, and we have that down here. We have a very nice departure, number one. Let me go like this, so it looks pretty, and then we scroll back. Let's have a really nice departure from here. I like this a lot. Okay, so we have beginning of the buy zone. We have this area down here. We could probably mark off the whole area like so. And it looks something like that. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting area. If you want to get a little bit conservative, you can do this, and then maybe do 2 times the size or 3 times the size, depending on your risk appetite. And then we can expect price to wriggle down into this area here, at least to the lows of this pullback, and then find support, attract some speculative longs, and then this will drive price higher. And we can make this decision with a relatively high degree of confidence because we are reacting at monthly demand. So this makes us feel a little bit more confident in buying, because you can see pretty clearly that we are wriggling lower to this area of monthly demand. And notice also as well that the prices move down here, and now we're painting these white candles. So this is telling us very clearly that we are beginning to distribute liquidity. And so traders are buying liquidity, brokers are selling liquidity. Okay, so the brokers, they sell to make the price go higher, and they buy to make the price go lower. And right now they are selling, and traders are buying. Okay, and you can see we're starting to see this pattern emerge here where you're starting to see price race down to an area, then sit on it for a while. And this is interesting because we are sitting on monthly demand, so we can expect price to wriggle higher. Okay, so that's what we have down there. Let's do another example. Let's remove all of these. Oops. Let's remove all of these here. Mark them all, delete them, zoom out. Let's find something else. The Aussie franc. So if we look here, where are we? This is a tough one because I have no price. My broker does not have any price for this particular instrument. But we can see here that price is very low. It's very, very low. We have this little price point here. So this is maybe the beginning of a buy zone. So maybe to the left we have an area of demand, but I can't see. My broker has no more data, so I'm kind of stumped for the time being. Okay, but we're low. Okay, this is not as good as price reacting at demand, but we are certainly low, and we've tested the area, the edge of this buy zone here. Okay, so going to the smaller time frames, we do have a slightly bullish bias because we are in a buy zone. And if you look at this, I mean, there's no supply here on this time frame. Okay, there's no supply here. This is just price kind of messing around. We had some serious order filling here and serious order filling here. Okay, we had some order filling here, and now price kind of reacted, and now it's kind of like the dust is settling and price is moving around efficiently like that, waiting for the next squirt of liquidity to come in, either to drive price higher or lower. But due to the fact that we are very low, we are reacting at potential buy zone, we do have a directional bias, and the directional bias is to buy. Okay, and so now we want to look for patterns that make us believe that price is indeed going to wriggle higher, and we're starting to see those now. We had price wriggle down here. We had some kind of wicks below price here. You can see these wicks on the lower side of the chart. This is telling us that, I mean, price is like it's opening here. We're trying to go down, but we're closing higher. Trying to go down, closing higher. And this one here, it gapped down here and went all the way down, but then it went higher again. So there's a lot of interest in buying at this level here. And price kind of moved north. We moved up to this area here. Price sat in there, tried to test it, and then this area finally consumed it. We got probably some area of micro demand here, supply here. Price cut through it. Price tested that, and now we're off to the races here. Now price is starting to test this child here, which was tested once, twice, 3 times. Okay, so this has been tested quite a few times. Okay, and so we do have our directional bias, and the directional bias is to move price higher. If we have a look on a smaller time frame, we want to begin to look for areas of value that are at very, very low prices, and we have something here, and focusing on this price swing here, from here to here, just like the big moves. You can see that we have a high, we have a high, we have these going up, we have this kind of lower high here, and so I would expect price to attempt to move a little bit lower, and that low level would be somewhere around here, around the origin of this move. We know that this is interesting because this is beyond the low of this price move here. We are entering fresh buy zones. Okay, and so this is telling us we want to be buying a little bit lower here. And if you look at this, you can see pretty clearly again that we have massive rejection. Price came back. This is telling us that we have the beginning of the buy zone here. So this would be an interesting area to begin to accumulate long orders in expectation that price wriggles higher. Okay, and so we have this little area of demand here. We have the buy zone here. And so there's nothing to do up here. There's no supply or demand around here. This is just price kind of trading efficiently, as you can see, and figuring out what it wants to do. But we do have the beginning of the sell zone is here, so we can get sensitive to price up here. Beginning of the buy zone is down here. Okay, so for the time bound, we're kind of stuck in this range here, and the bias is to buy down here once price moves below this price point here. Okay, and so areas to get out of trades would well, you're certainly going to see a bit of resistance at these highs here. But if we look a little bit higher on the daily or the weekly chart, you can see that there's actually no reason that price shouldn't wriggle up to around this area here, because this is where we kind of had like balance in price here and price cut away. Okay, so the beginning of the sell zone is around here, and so there's no reason that if price comes down to this area somewhere around here, I think we can see it right there, that it will not move up to here and potentially higher. Okay, but again, we can't see what's gone on historically on the monthly chart or the 6-month chart. I can't see what's over there because my broker doesn't have data. So perhaps a closer look at another broker or another trading platform that has this information available to us. That'd be quite nice, but we can't see that. So we can speculate that we are extremely low, and so price is going to probably wriggle higher. Okay, cool. Let's do one more example. Let's do the Euro Kiwi. So if we look at this, go to the monthly chart again, you kind of think like, oh, what's price doing? You're stuck on the 1 hour, the 4 hour. Oh, what's price going to do? We don't really know what price is going to do. So what we have to do is we have to go to the bigger time frame to have a look. You can see that yes, price poked into this area of child supply. It's apparent. It's just here. Tested, left, price returned to the origin of this move, and now we're moving away. So this tells us that we're probably going to wriggle lower until we get to about right here, okay, because this is where we have demand. And so shorts for the time being, go to the weekly chart and you try and look for those patterns that we like, and you can see that there's nothing clear here at all. If you go to the daily chart, we start to see some clarity. We have this area here, okay, this area of supply here. Notice here that price is reacting at this small continuation pattern. We have this area here, which is nice, a nice kind of a V formation, how price kind of moves down to a price level and then leaves within a very short period of time. We only have a couple of days of trading there, and price is getting close to that. And so we have this area of supply here. I don't know if this will work. We'll have to see. This is what I don't like about this. It's in the middle of the move. We have this here. We have price currently here. I mean, price is just in the middle. If we use this just to kind of show us where we are, I mean, we are kind of within probably the top third of this push, sorry, the lower third of this push low. So this is a very kind of shallow retracement. So we would expect price to go a little bit deeper, but due to that we had a nice departure here and price moved away pretty far, due to the fact that price is really taking this area of demand out, I would expect price to come up here so that we can have a bit of a bounce and a move lower to about here and ultimately down here. But again, looking on the monthly chart, price is moving lower. Going to the small time frames, we want to try and find those areas where we think price is going to cut away. Look on the 4-hour chart, this is not a pretty area, is it? If you look at this, you can see the price tested here. We kind of sat around, there's a lot of trading in the area. There are no real imbalances at this price level. So looking at that, and I see this up here. I see this one here, but there's a lot of trading up here. And so this is probably the only area that I would look to sell at for this time frame. And I think this is interesting because price went up, we rejected, we moved sideways, and then we left, and we have not been back since. This is tested, so price has already traded this area. This has been traded at. We have this one here, but price has traded there a lot. This is kind of the only one that is attractive for the time being. Okay, looking at the daily chart, look at this. We have this nice area, rally, period of sideways price movement, and then departure. Price tested it. Price tested this one. And so the beginning of the sell zone is actually here, isn't it? Which brings our attention immediately to this area up here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move my entry up here, like that. I'll be pleased with that. Okay, so that's what we have there. Yes, and I think I'm probably going to leave it at that. I'll be back on with the videos in some days. I'll start after Christmas. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to send them in. You can either join our trading forum or you can comment the video. And in the meantime, have a lovely holiday with your family and your friends. And look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Thanks for watching.